autopsy was conducted by Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Michael Ward, and he determined that Tori died from multiple blunt force trauma, and the manner of death was homicide. In Dr. Ward's terms, she bled out inside her own legs. Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. On January 14th, 2021, around 2:15 rather, this defendant called 911 and stated, quote, "We have an emergency. Our daughter, she's unresponsive. She drank a lot of water. We tried to do CPR to get it out. Our 3-year-old daughter is choking on water right now." Police responded to 515 Selwood Circle within Greenville County and found 3-year-old Victoria Rose Smith unresponsive and badly injured. Co-defendant Ariel Robinson told first responders that they thought Tori was drinking too much water, but firefighters saw unexplained excessive bruising all over Tori's body. Deep purple bruising on her abdomen, bruising on her ear, bruising down her back, and up and down both of her legs. Police talked with Ariel Robinson, who gave an account of Tori's day on January 13th, 2021, and the events leading up to when this defendant called 911. She told police that the night before, Tori had thrown up on the way to church. Ariel Robinson said after church, they ate pizza at home and Tori seemed fine. They went to bed with no issues, she said. The next morning on January 14th, 2021, Ariel said Tori woke up, ate pancakes while she and this defendant were home alone with the child, and the other 4 children were at school. Ariel Robinson said Tori kept asking for water, and this defendant filled up her cup 5 or 6 times. She also said Tori said her stomach hurt and that she was cold. She gave her a heated blanket and was holding Tori when Ariel Robinson said the child went limp. Ariel Robinson then said she tried to perform the Heimlich maneuver because she thought the child was choking. While police were on the scene, this defendant maintained Ariel Robinson's account of what happened to Tori. "We took CPR training. She was pressing on her stomach." End quote. Investigator McGall asked this defendant, "Do you feel like her airway was blocked?" This defendant said, "I'm not sure. I was too busy trying to get paramedics here." She first thought she was choking. She tried to do the Heimlich. Investigators asked Ariel Robinson, judge, about the bruising on Tori's abdomen and whether it was there prior to EMS getting there. She said, "I did that." She said, "I was pushing really hard." Then an officer asked about the extensive bruising on Victoria's body. That's when Ariel Robinson blamed Tori's 7-year-old brother for the other bruising up and down her legs. She said he had anger issues. The officer further asked what a 7-year-old could do to cause such extreme bruising to the child's legs, and co-defendant Ariel Robinson said he'll pick up anything and hit her. Tori died, judge, later that day. An autopsy was conducted by Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Michael Ward, and he determined that Tori died from multiple blunt force trauma, and the manner of death was homicide. In Dr. Ward's terms, she bled out inside her own legs. Several days later, they were both arrested. After the arrest, Austin Robinson's attorney, Lucas Marchant, who's present in court, contacted the state and stated that his client wished to make a statement. No promises were given to this defendant, and the phone call was on this defendant's accord. The defendant came in voluntarily and met with police to tell what had really happened to Tori. He said he had not physically ever hurt Tori, but that his wife would spank and beat her. Austin Robinson said Ariel Robinson hit Tori with different things, including a belt, paddle, flip-flop, hand, or whatever. He said Tori got the worst of it for some reason when Ariel would become angry over eating habits, such as Tori taking too long. He told police how Ariel had become angry the night before Tori's death because she threw up on herself on the way to church. The next morning, this defendant said it all started when Ariel was fussing at Tori for not eating her pancakes fast enough, and that Ariel had put Tori on a timer. This defendant said he heard Ariel beat Tori with a belt from outside the house and he could hear Tori crying. This defendant came inside and saw Ariel Robinson standing over Tori with a belt saying, "You're not done. You don't get to tell me when you're done." When he saw how badly Tori was beaten, he told Ariel, "Look at her. You've done too much. You've gone too far. You went too far this time." Ariel then put Tori in an Epsom salt bath. This defendant went off to CVS to buy medication to bring down the bruising, judge. This was at 1 o'clock p.m. 911 was not contacted until around 2:15 p.m. Law enforcement secured video from the CVS showing Austin Robinson, in fact, buying that liquid Tylenol that he talked about around 1 o'clock in his statement to police. Law enforcement also secured video from the church where the Robinsons attended church the night before Tori's death. The video at one point shows Tori being walked out of the church by Ariel Robinson wearing what appears to be nothing but a diaper and some undergarment, Judge. And in the video, you see no visible injuries to the child's back, her legs, or her body at this time. The child did not have any known health problems, did not attend school, and at the time of Tori's death, the Robinsons were fostering to adopt Tori and her 2 brothers. Judge, the state has a few questions to ask Mr. Robinson.
All right. Mr. Robinson, before we go any further, you heard the facts sustained by the solicitor. Is that what happened?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you plead the discharge, homicide by aiding and abetting, homicide by child abuse? All right. I'll accept your plea as being freely and voluntarily made with the advice of extremely competent counsel, with whom you say you're well satisfied. The plea does have a substantial factual basis. I'll remind you you're under oath.
Mr. Robinson, when you were outside the house that morning, what did you hear?
I heard Tori screaming and crying.
And what were you doing outside the house?
I was putting up, doing a little bit of yard work. Basically just I had just let my van get towed off and all that stuff. We were trying to get that fixed. But other than that, I was just trying to pick up like the stuff in the backyard to the front yard to the front at that time.
What was Tori screaming and crying about?
She basically just getting fussed at by her mother, getting a whooping for not getting her food.
And I'm sorry, you said whooping?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Had you ever heard this before?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you speak a little louder?
Yes, ma'am.
So you were outside, you heard this whooping happening.
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you not walk inside?
By the time I did walk in there, it was as if nothing was going on. Like I said, she was seemingly okay at the time.
Okay. That morning when Tori woke up, was she fine?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So at some point, do you walk inside to see what's going on with this whooping that's happening to Tori? And when you walked inside, what, if anything, did you see?
I saw the bruising.
You saw the bruising. Who was in the house when you came inside and saw the bruising on Tori?
Ariel was.
Can you speak up?
Ariel was.
And can you tell the court what, if anything, was Ariel holding at that time?
It was a belt.
And what, if anything, was Tori doing at that time?
She was crying.
What was Tori wearing?
Nothing.
Nothing. So you saw the bruising. What did you say, if anything, to Ariel Robinson when you walked in?
I just told her that it wouldn't have been too far. That we had gone too far this time. I should have stopped.
When you said that, what was Ariel holding?
Yeah.
After that, what, if anything, did Tori do?
She basically just tried to walk up the steps when Ariel went to go try to give her a bath. And Tori tried to walk up the steps, but she fell. And she tried to walk the rest of the way.
Why did she fall? From the what? I'm sorry, what?
From the beating.
So she walks upstairs after falling. What happened then?
I went to go get Tylenol while Ariel tried to soak her in the bathtub.
Did Ariel's 7-year-old brother, with initials J.E., cause the injuries to Victoria Rose Smith on that day?
No, ma'am.
Where were the other children when Victoria was beaten by Ariel?
They were at school.
Nothing further, Judge. All right. Mr. Marchand?
Judge, we thank you for accepting the plea. Obviously, this is a very heavy day for everybody involved. As everyone is well aware, the state is taking Miss Robinson to trial, I think, on May the 9th. I believe the state will concur with the comments I'm getting ready to make about his cooperation. As has already been recited, we met with SLED and some Seville PD a very few days after I was hired. Met with them for several hours. We've met with the state for several hours. In addition to that, leading up to the plea today, we will continue to do so in attention because I believe we need to probably address the issue of bond, given that he has entered a plea. I would ask